Tim Cook, or is it Tim Apple, is in trouble with Donald Trump. Look, Trump says he doesn't want Apple building products in India. I had a little problem with Tim Cook. Uh-oh. When Trump said, we're going to put huge tariffs on China, and that will force all of these companies to bring their jobs back to the United States, Apple was like, let's just go to India then. Donald Trump is obviously the world's greatest businessman, but just in case he doesn't know some of these things and he happens to be watching, let's talk about why jobs don't just come home overnight. First of all, where's your factory going to go? This involves long-term planning. It can be years of them. Which state will offer us the best incentives or tax breaks or deals? What does the surrounding infrastructure look like? Does it need to be totally overhauled? Is there energy and water nearby? So now let's just say it's taken you 2 years to just find the location. Now you need infrastructure development for that area. You need to make sure that the power and the electrical grid can withstand it, that the roads and bridges and anything else around there can withstand the increased workflow, outflow, production, and that can take 3 to 4 years. Now Apple needs to incentivize the component manufacturers to relocate closer to them. That can take many years. Maybe they have to start making their own. I'm talking about glass, the hardware, the chips, the batteries. And that can take around 4 years. The next 2 to 3 years, they need to start hiring people. I'm talking about factory managers, engineers, assembly line workers, and that can take a long time too, especially because we don't really have that sort of skilled labor here, which means in addition to just hiring them, they need to start reaching out to local community colleges and trade schools and saying like, hey, you need to start teaching people how to do this, and that can take years as well. But the labor costs here are gigantic, which we'll talk about in a second. And so Apple might just rely on automation. But that could take years because they have to develop the technology and then test the technology to make sure it can do what they need it to do. Finally, once the workforce is trained and automation is there and the infrastructure is all built up, finally they can start to manufacture the goods. And this all happens in around a 15-year period. And the cost to do all of this, to move everything from overseas back to the States, would be astronomical. Not to mention, like I mentioned, labor costs. And those labor costs would be passed on to us. Just take a look at this. If an iPhone were manufactured in the United States, it would cost somewhere between $1,500 and $3,500. You want to pay $3,500 for one of these things? I don't. Now, if I were the president and I wanted manufacturing to come back to the States, I would start laying that groundwork now for specific things, maybe not technology, because we might not have the means or the workforce qualified enough to do that stuff, or the labor costs would be too high. But I'd still be improving infrastructure, building factories, training workers to do certain specific things. But you can't just say, bring the jobs home without already having the existing infrastructure to accommodate them. Hope that explains it. See you later.